Hello, hello. Good morning, first. Thank you for staying. I know that is the last session this morning, so you are quite tired. But believe me, that's gonna be an insightful session about wireless innovation. So before we jumping into the topic, allow me to introduce our beloved speaker in this topic. First, welcome Mr. Chris Tam from Toby Wallet. Mr. Michael O from Cool Wallet. Mr. Ryan from Blockchain.com. And I'm Rio from Troseth, will be the moderator for this section today. So can you guys make a quick introduction about yourself, about your position and what your company is doing?
Sure. I guess I'll start with around this way. Chris Tam, as Rio mentioned, I'm the founder and CEO of Toby Wallet. We are the first self-custody, cross-chain Web3 wallet inside of Telegram. I've been in Web3 for a number of years now. Prior to that, I was at Google, and then I had another life in finance on Wall Street. Thanks. Happy to be here.
Good to see you, everyone. My name is Michael O, founder and CEO at Cool Wallet. And been in the space for 10 years, started the company 10 years ago with the same mission, building the most easy to use Cold Wallet. So far, we are a Cold Wallet supporting more than 40 mainnets, layer 1, layer 2, with 400,000 on-chain users and still valuing more than $3 billion worth of crypto, and still building. Thanks.
Ryan Raballi, Global Head of Institutional Sales and Trading for Blockchain.com. Blockchain.com is the preeminent trading desk and liquidity and product provider in the space for over 10 years now. Over 90 million wallets downloaded, 40 million KYC wallets, over 2.5 million monthly active wallet downloads.
Thank you so much. So let's move into our topic. As you guys know, the wallet is a key to open the blockchain world. When you want to use a blockchain, when you want to make a transaction, you have to have a wallet yourself. So there are many kinds of Web3 wallets in the market right now, such as non-custodial, custodial, smart contract wallet, etc. So what are the features that new users should looking for when they choose a wallet to use? Please, Peter, please.
Sure. So yeah, I guess from my perspective, I think the important thing is to not treat users as a monolithic class of people, right? I think different users have different requirements, different needs. They're trying to accomplish different goals. So for example, I think right here we actually have three very, very different wallet products represented. Ours is self-custody, and it's for all intents and purposes, a hot wallet because it's living inside of Telegram. We've got a cold wallet, we've got some more institutional types of wallets as well. Those are all very different for different types of users. So if you're a new user, for us, let's say, you might want to choose something that's very easy to use, very easy and quick to start up, so one tap to create, and then just something that's going to kind of generally keep you safe. We're not talking to people who are very, very sophisticated on the crypto side of things, or very technical in background necessarily, so it's more like a consumer app, and we'll do our best to protect them. That might be different for other wallets.
Yeah, thank you so much. How about you, Ryan?
I think so. I agree with Chris. I think it has a lot to do with what type of user. I think in this industry we know we've come quite far, but we still have a long way to go. Whether you're a crypto degen or a heavy DeFi trader, or you're an institution, new market entrant, or you just want to ape into the next 1000x meme coin, different wallets obviously provide different use cases and functionality. I think a lot of the key components, though, are very similar regardless of what type of user you are. Security, obviously, user experience, we can get into why that's not so great still today, 10 years later. Of course, home from. Yes, every other wallet is struggling in that regard. But I would say, again, there are very key metrics and components to each wallet that most users agree with that they need. And again, it's security, user experience, functionality. We can get into that later as well.
So it depends on what type of user is this, right? How about Michael? What do you think? You have any addition to the question?
Coming from building a self-custody wallet for retail market for 10 years, we prioritize security and usability the most. Security, no doubt, is absolutely the top one consideration when you are choosing a wallet, because we're all here to accumulate the assets. You definitely don't want you get in here after 3-5 years, you finally reach what you are here for, and then all of a sudden everything is gone overnight over a hack. That's the least thing we want. And to achieve that, we prioritize things like openness, open source code, so users or the community can verify themselves. And most of the times we highly recommend users to have a secure element chip inside because it's verified globally with the security industry. And then you want to have advanced features like phishing attack preventions, transaction previews to further address some of the latest attack methods. So security is kind of an endless building block. So there's always new attack format, but you want to choose a wallet that constantly improve their protection techniques.
Thank you so much. So the security should be something that new users should looking for when they choose a wallet to use. Some of my friends, when they want to jump in the blockchain world, they choose a wallet to use. They just get confused because there are many buttons, there are many features, many terms that they never heard about. So using a wallet or Web3 wallets should be very difficult for them. So what do you think about what are some of the current challenge and limitations of a wallet? Please,
Yeah, definitely. I think this is something that we think a lot about, sort of as a wallet that's inside of Telegram, trying to make it easy for folks like your friends to get into Web3 for the first time. And I think so, if we're really kind of thinking about, so yesterday even, and I'm going to invoke Vitalik as everybody does, right? He mentioned how wallets are such a critical interface into Web3, right? And so as an interface, the word's right there, right? The biggest challenge with any interface is going to be user experience. It's a user interface, right? And so user experience, and we heard that yesterday, I think, in another panel, the Web3 growth and expansion panel, right? Adoption panel. I think the challenge here is that most people underestimate how much of a technology problem UX is, especially for a product category at this level of infancy. And I still do really consider sort of even Web3 and wallets in particular as still very early stage, right? If you think about, the cloud, I think the analogy in Web2 is maybe think about the cloud as a good analogy. So back in 2007, 2008, right? So I did Y Combinator back in 2011. Dropbox had just kind of started taking off and being successful. And if you still remember, so I'm old enough to remember, the cloud before it was very usable. The idea was there, right? Everybody had the same UX in mind. Something where I can just plop a file into something, it gets backed up, and I can access it anywhere else I need. But why did it take someone like Drew Houston so much time and meticulous building and engineering in order to achieve that, to be able to deliver on something where the value proposition was, it just works. That was literally the Dropbox motto for years. It just works. Why was it just works so difficult? Because there's a lot of underlying engineering that has to be built up when you're starting something that fresh, right? It starts with the dream of I want this to kind of work this way, and it's going to take you years to build up. Now we all take iCloud and Google Drive for granted, and it's so easy. My phone is on my computer, it's on everything else, and all the files sync up. But it really started almost 15, certainly almost 20 years ago at this point, with something like Dropbox and that level of innovation, right? We're still there. We're still in the 2007, 2008 era of wallets in Web3 right now. We've still got a long way to go. And we're hoping to sort of add to that, right? And so when you think about technologies like MPC, like account abstraction that we're all striving for, even beyond ERC 437, like one of the presenters earlier said as well, those kinds of things are really going to help us get there. our wallet is secured with MPC, super high security, but then also offering you a much better user experience to be able to recover it using a separate key share in case your wallet gets hacked, your Telegram gets hacked. You can use a cloud backed up key share in order to shut down your previous account and restart it fresh on your new phone, right? So these kinds of innovations, it's going to take time. That became really commercially mature 6-9 months ago even, really, right? MPC obviously has been around a long time academically, but then the implementation of it, the engineering robustness, the usefulness in market, the specialization that needs to be done with it has taken another 4 or 5 years.
So we are still early and we have a long way for developer to go to make it really, really easy to use for onboarding new user from the Web 2 to Web 3, right? So how about you, Michael? What do you think of some limitations of Web 3 wallet at the moment?
Well, I think there are two main challenges when we are looking at our user behaviors. First is, as I mentioned, phishing attacks is a constant threat to the community. Every now and then you have a phishing domain, you have a phishing smart contract. No matter how safe you are, by accident you click in from address of your assets and accounts. So we've been constantly spending a lot of effort in improving that through providing as much as transaction previews as we can and providing phishing domain screening to address the issue. And another challenge is compatibility with the increasingly growing number of blockchains, all the different layer 1 and layer 2. As a user, you definitely don't want to have 100 wallet apps on your phone for you to navigate through all the blockchains you need to use. So for a wallet company, it's also a constant investment into integrating more and more blockchains that users desire, and make it easy for users to do cross-chain transactions through bridges or any kind of decentralized apps. So that's what I think how the wallets are addressing the challenges.
Speaking of phishing attack, I have myself an experience just last week. I bought an NFT on the marketplace. Then I come to their Discord server to verify the holder. But when I verify the holder, they are a bot. So the bot asked me to go to a website, and suddenly this website asked me to allow them to use my token. So I just like, what? Why when I verify my ownership of my NFT, they asked me to allow them to use my token, so I reject it. So it's very, very good features of wallets I use that they show me the preview of the transaction. So that's really, really helpful. How about you? What do you think about the limitation of the wallet right now?
Right, I'll keep it short because I agree with everything you said here. I think user experience as well, of course. I operate in a level of paranoia in this industry, which I've been doing for quite some time. And I'm a trader, so at heart, I'm transferring assets more often than not. And yes, of course, we're all holding for the long term. But there's a lot of opportunity in the market, cross-chain as well. So I'd say user experience, when even some people as seasoned as we are here, and we're still operating at a scared level, using the technology that we've been using for nearly a decade or longer. I'd say that we still have a ways to go, as Chris said, we're still operating at an 07, 08 level. And then again, cross-chain, which again, from a trading perspective, is super important for me. So again, that also boils down to like UX, because even saying what you're saying here, like I probably missed out on tons of airdrops and things that I really wanted to do, and I was just literally paranoid, and I just didn't think it was worth it. So it has a lot to do with UX as well, like how that actually is framed and presented to you on the wallet interface. So I'd say those are my two core pieces.
Thank you so much. Now user mainly using the wallet for token storage and making transaction, but beyond that, are there any potential use case of a wallet that you can think about in the future? Please, Mr. Michael.
I think beyond storing and transacting cryptocurrencies, crypto wallets also play an important role as a gateway. As users, every user store their crypto on the wallet, whether it's custody one or self-custody one. So it is important for those wallets to provide a very seamless user experience, user interface for the users to easily connect with all the decentralized apps that the industry provides. So here at Kubix, we provide integrations with native staking, with all kinds of chains and cross-chain swaps, bridges, or even NFT places, OpenSea, MetaMask, the Blur, and there will be more. So it's also a constant effort for wallet developers to figure out what's the latest marketplace or dApps that the users want and make it available for the users.
Yeah. How about Chris? What do you think about the potential use case beyond the token storage and making generation of the wallet?
Yeah, definitely, building on what Michael said, definitely agree with that. That sort of centralized as a portal, as you will, a gateway for dApps and getting access to all the fun things you can do in Web3. I mean, this is obviously going to come in conjunction with there being more fun things to do in Web3, right? Beyond sort of just DeFi. We're thinking a lot about, what's the future of GameFi, SocialFi, all these kinds of fun new applications that your wallet acts as both your gateway as well as in some ways your identity to go into these products, right, and bring your assets with you. So, that's obviously a very, very critical sort of part of what wallets serve to function as. And I think specifically we're seeing a lot more folks really trying to integrate some social elements into wallets. It's such a natural, once you start thinking about ID, it's just a very natural thing to start thinking about it as a profile, and start to think about are there things that I can be sharing in there and start to spread that around and connect with other people. So.
That could be a social file for user, right? When you're sharing something, just like what you do with Facebook, Instagram right now. Now we have so many wallet. When I use some EVM chains, I have to use some wallet like MetaMask or Ruby wallets. When I use Solana chain, I have to use another wallet. When I use Cosmos chain, I have to use another wallet. So that is quite confused or quite difficult for even for me. It is not easy to use. So can you discuss the role of interoperability and compatibilities with different blockchains in the development of the Web3 wallet? How about that?
Obviously, it's going to be essential, and it already is essential. And to be competitive in the wallet space, it's not going to be enough just to exist and be sort of the millionth iteration of your predecessor. You're going to need to evolve and sort of be sort of that more commonplace provider, and that has everything to do with living in sort of a multi-chain world. And I get it. And again, it's all about user experience too. It really comes down to that, like you're saying, like using all these different wallets for these different functions. And people are bridging assets. We know all new projects now. They're launching on like Blast and whatnot. So it already, you can see there's problems already starting to like resurface again. So we haven't like made a ton of progress. But sort of living in this multi-chain world, it will be essential for you to actually offer products that can actually service those users and not complicate their lives. Yes.
How about you, Chris? What do you think about the compatibility of your wallets with different blockchains? And does your company is thinking about solving this problem? Is Toby Wallet thinking about that?
For sure, yeah. I mean, we're certainly thinking about it, as a product, and we're trying to solve that. We're multi-chain and cross-chain from day one. But I really want to build on what Ryan was saying. I mean, this is sort of going back to that point about this being a UX problem, and it is very still analogous to the cloud. I think, like when you really think about it, it's like cross-chain. Most users, as far as we understand it, don't really want to be thinking about chains on demand when they think about who I want to bridge my assets here or there. They just want to get DeFi exposure, play a game there, do some sort of simplified fun thing. And whether it's built on this particular chain for the important engineering and performance reasons that it should be built on this chain or another chain is not necessarily as much of a concern for the end user, right? Similarly, back when we think about cloud, to first bridge that gap between Apple and Microsoft even for operating systems is a similar thing. You go, this should be trivial, right? It's absolutely intuitive that I should be able to take a file, which is text, on a computer that was made by something called Apple and move it to another one, which is made by something, for example, called Dell, right? That is just, from a user perspective, you don't even have to write that into a science fiction movie, right? That should just be trivial. But it isn't, right? And the amount of work and engineering effort and resources that we're investing into making that possible now is going to make that future much, much easier in 10 years, let's say, hopefully 5. But that work is the work we're putting in now. So I think any of us sitting here on this panel are probably at the forefront of that right now, trying to bring those users in without them having to consider, is this app built on Apple or is it hosted in AWS or Google Cloud, for example?
So that's again, that is still a long way for us to go. Like for when you move a file from the Apple Cloud to Google Cloud or Microsoft Cloud, just it sounds like when you bridge a token from these EVM chains to Solana chain or something like that, right?
Exactly. Like in the old days, we would fear losing our files, right? We would fear it being corrupted or it just disappear. It's not showing up in my folder. That anxiety you feel when you first upload it to the cloud and you don't see it on the other side is the exact same fear that we now feel when we cross-chain bridge something. When we bridge something and it's like holding your breath for about 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Is it going to show up? Is it not? How much slippage should I take? Like all of that is the exact same.
I don't even think you need to go cross-chain to feel that way.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you could go same chain and still feel that level of anxiety.
Totally agree. Thank you. How about you Michael? What do you think?
Well, to address this compatibility or interoperability challenge, I want to especially say kudos to the Wallet Connect team because they are doing a fantastic job connecting all the wallets, self-custody wallets with all the dApps out there. And one thing I want to shout out to all the dApp developers is please constantly monitor if there's any update from the Wallet Connect official website or the GitHub, because if what we've seen is sometimes they do a minor update and the dApps didn't catch up, they lose value because users are simply not able to connect with the dApp anymore with their wallet. So I think there are some good product solutions out there to address the compatibility issue, but dApp developers just need to be aware about all the updates out there.
Yeah, thank you so much. So we're moving to the last question. How do you guys see the future of the Web3 wallet? What innovations could we expect to see in the near future? And will smart contract wallet using account traction mark a new era for Web3 wallet? Please, Peter.
I think, I feel like we think we've done a lot of work, right? But we know we really haven't. We've done a lot of work. We haven't gotten super far, let's say. But it's tough work too. Like this is like groundbreaking stuff that everyone's working on, and there's a lot of uncertainties. So, I think when we sort of, are initially introduced to cryptocurrencies, we're assuming that we have full access, full control of everything that, the field that we're playing on. So, but I do think that future state, actual control and accessibility are going to be much more improved. If you're going to talk about account abstraction, then there's some definitely very amazing concepts that are being sort of spoken about and that have already been developed and are being improved. Social recovery type stuff, sort of custom signatures as well, gas cost differentiation through different methodologies. There's a lot of super interesting concepts that I think will become a good norm. And I do feel like this is sort of the inevitable next stage or next step of the evolution that we're supposed to be going through.
How about you, Michael? What do you think we should expect to see in the near future?
Well, I definitely think the future of Web3 wallets lies in the growth of self-custody and decentralized apps or the DeFi space. One reference is when CZ stepped down from finance, he said he's going to spend more time into DeFi. And if you're in a space long enough, you will see where he's coming from. Because the born of blockchain was meant to be permissionless. Yet we've seen increasingly strict regulations applying here and there, and you see fines, billions of fines towards some of the largest players. And we have seen a lot of trust issues with centralized service providers. Centralized service providers are good. For example, ETF, they are good to bring on another kind of net inflow. But the future of crypto for the Kubernetes folks definitely lies in DeFi. With the gas fee getting lower and blockchain is becoming more efficient, it is now more likely to provide a complete set of services that centralized exchanges used to provide. So here at Kuwallet, we are constantly building towards the decentralized vision. So sometime this year, we will even decentralize ourselves even more, giving back the management, the feature development, decision making, the governance back to all of our users through issuing our tokens, so they can be voting for the next feature, and they can be sharing the fees, they can be part of the ecosystem.
Thank you, Michael. How about you, Chris?
Yeah, I think Ryan and Michael covered a lot of it already. Security is just going to keep getting better. UX is going to get better. More dApps, more interoperability, all these things. I guess I'll tackle on a couple of additional ones. First, I'll aid Vitalik again and just sort of say he mentioned AI as part of the interface, integrating that. I think a lot of that is also to help solve some of these problems with security. How can we use AI to better identify potential scams, potential dangerous wallets, potential bad transactions? Can we use AI to make the interface more intuitive so that the user knows better what they're trying to do? That's definitely one aspect of it. And then I think on the last one I guess I'd say is that certainly I think the wallets need to go where the people are really going to use them. That's sort of part of our thesis, right? We think about it as, okay, wallets, do they have to absolutely exist as these independent applications, whether as a browser plugin or as a native mobile app? Can we have a little bit more meaning into something called UI composability, that I'm sort of familiar with forecasters and a lot about as well, to make it such that you can separate the UI layer from the actual sort of functionality layer and bring the wallet to wherever you already are instead of bringing the user to the wallet. Those are things that we see.
Yes, so thank you so much. So there are something that we can expect to see, such as AI integrated to wallet, or we distinguish the functional layer and the UI layer, right? Please, audience, do you have any question for our beloved guest today about the wallet innovation or something? Can you just raise your hand? Okay, so if there's not any new questions, so thank you so much for being here today, and we have a wonderful session today. Thank you so much.
Thank you all of you guys. And last but not least, all of enthusiasts of innovation and blockchain visionaries here. Get ready for the last workshop this morning with Mr. Farah Abunta Libov, co-founder and CEO of Avar, as he leads us through an engaging session on cross-chain market and reach. Prepare to gain valuable knowledge and insight that will deepen your understanding of cross-chain. Let's give a warm welcome to Mr. Farah.